They were never your friends. You're in the right place. Right, exactly. You know, if people, I've had that, dude. I've had that so much, Roosh. Where like my movie star buddies and all these people that are all about crushing and making dough and making movie, and then they like call you crazy and shit because you find God. It's like good fucking riddance. I know I don't have to tell you that, but it's always good to give fellow brothers pep talks because it does feel, you know, one of the biggest one of the worst things you can feel as a human being is ostracism, especially Europeans, because ostracism meant a wintry death. It's one reason why white people are so cuckable, is because if the community kicks you out, you die in the winter. That's why a lot of the Sweden, that's why some cuck so much, is because if people start being like, oh, you're not one of us anymore, you have to go live in the wilderness, you literally died. Because the amount of effort and artistry and saving and frugality and forward thinking, it really did require a village. And that's why Northern Europeans are so awesome to be around, and they're trusting and they're giving and they're, you know, Christian typically. Um, but they're so it's so easy to control them by just being like thumbs down, and they're like, thumbs down. Well, I'll just say whatever. Yeah, we should make Down syndrome people. You know, we should let them walk the runway with the makeup on their face. It's really crazy. You know, that's the Achilles heel, and the Jews have figured it out. They figured out that the Achilles heel of the European is make up nonsense words: homophobia, racism, bigotry, anti-Semitism. Those are all words that all of us know are bullshit. Oh, and Muslims aren't a major problem in America, but please think of Europe. Most of Europe is on pace to have Muslim majorities in our lifetime. Some countries like Sweden, about 15 years. Right, I'm telling you why right now, if you shut the fuck up and listen. If you shut up and listen, you might know why it's happening and what you can do. Why don't you do? Follow the Lord, have kids, and follow the rules. You know, don't have these fantasies in your head. Don't contribute to any of these conversations unless you've gone more than 1 month without jacking off to pornography, because you're blind and you bring nothing. So anyway, the small hats, I like saying the Jew because it's the most, I don't say kike, it's stupid. Because kike just means circle. It was actually what Jews were doing to show they weren't Christians at Ellis Island, that have a circle instead of a cross. That's all it means. And it's silly. You know? I don't censor myself and say K word, N word, B word, but they're not kikes. Calling them in the first without an S is really funny. I used to do a bit that a writer for Trevor Noah actually stole and gave to Trevor. But I said, you can tell how someone feels about Jews by their eyebrows, whether or not it's Jews or Jews. It's all right here. And you know you're probably committing a lot of crimes and pissing people off when your tribal name is now an insult. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so the Jew figured out the Achilles heel of the European. It's shame. So homophobia was a term invented by a Jew in the 1960s. It's a nonsense word. Anti-Semitism is a nonsense word. Semites are also Arabs. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Bigotry, xenophobia, ethnocentrism, these are all nonsense words. So loving your family and community and serving them more than foreigners is now a bad thing because of Jewish spell shame. And so I have that tendency as well. I don't want to be shamed and ostracized. I hate it. You feel literal pain until you really get going with God service. Pray for Cernovich. Yeah, pray for Mike Cernovich. That dude, the risk he took is mind-blowing. Because I've had threats and I've had people like send shit to the house that's weird and stuff. And I don't give a fuck we've we've taken precautions, and the world is a physical reality. I'm not going to let, the hall of mirrors of the internet affect me from having a very, very good time. But if I was outing a sex pedophile ring through like legalities and effective lawsuits, I would have 5 fucking Aeolian fucking guard dogs. And, I have 1 guard dog, and sometimes he doesn't have logos. I would have a 50 cal on my roof. I'm not kidding. Mike Sarovich is walking with God. You don't have that kind of balls. You don't have that kind of balls without prayer and devotion and love. It's literally not possible. Roosh hates women, the ultimate insult. We are now banned. You clearly just saw that I have respect for Roosh. And so now I just took that as an insult to me personally. You claim not to support pedos, but you support Trump, who is a pedo. Trump flew on Epstein's plane multiple times. Yeah, I addressed that in the beginning, you liar. You're now banned. Look into it. He was on Epstein's plane one time flying to New York. By the way, judging by your gamma behavior, taking a ride from your father could be consorting with a pedophile. I mean, allegedly. I don't know. But Donald Trump has consorted with war criminals and pedophiles and everybody. He's the president of the United States. You can't just call a man a pedophile. Donald Trump, there's zero evidence he's a pedophile. He's a womanizer. He's fucked a lot of women. That's a different demon. It's a much, much different demon. That demon doesn't coincide with pedophilia. I've never seen it ever in my life. I've never seen someone who has a problem having sex with a lot of adult women also liking children. It doesn't match. Because one is about control and about, like pedophilia, it's about ruining of innocence and control and wickedness and using sex as a weapon to be attracted to a child. You're not craving fertility. For me, I have and I'm sure Roosh has a very similar story. Very high masculine energy, very high sex drive, obsessed with the fertility of a grown woman's body. That doesn't possibly go with a child because it's not the same thing. And it would be more about, the addiction would come in the form of wanting women to want you, which is very empty and hollow. If you actually love a woman's fertility, you marry one, you honor one, and you have as many kids with one child as you possibly can, because the hookup culture, the gay disco that is now America, going to disco clubs and putting plastic on your dick, that's homosexual behavior, and that's actually sterile. That's not about fertility. Your eyes will pick up the fertility of a woman's body. The shape of it is children. And yeah, I love a woman with pubes. Yeah, and the Jews tried to normalize pedophilia with shaved pubes in pornography. And I always thought it was disgusting. Even in my porn whacking days, shaved pubes always freaked me out. I always, even as a kid, I would rather look at like the 70s. And by kid, I mean like teenager. I would rather look like the 70s porno mags with the bushes. And I remember all the propaganda, the Jewish propaganda at the time was like, oh, the bush, so disgusting. The bush, oh, hairy bush. And I was always like, because I've always been a little, I'm in the social sexual hierarchy, but I've always been a little on the outside. Like, just let's be honest with each other here. I clearly don't follow the fucking the rules well. Well, everybody was like, ew, bush. I was like, I like the bushes. Not George W. Just bush it, like the bush. And people would be like, oh, she shaves her pubes. It's great. I'm like, what the fuck? And then they called me a pervert because I didn't want the pubis of a woman's body to appear prepubescent. And the Jew was making the pornos because they were trying, they were doing interracial gangbangs where it'd be a lot of black men and one white woman with shaved pubes. They're disgusting, guys. When you understand that it's Satanism, I'm anti-satanic. Cernovich did good. 3 days after a judge ordered the unsealing of the court records, Epstein was finally arrested in New York on allegations of sex trafficking. Dude, you got to give this, it's a big win for Cernovich. Big. And do not take it from him. Trump loves women, no kids or males. Zero chance he loves a beautiful, curvy woman. 100%. It doesn't mix. Like, you don't get the guy who loves the shape of adult, beautiful women with pubes. That doesn't ever just meander into pedophilia. It's the gamma male, the secret king, is the pedophile. Because they want that adoration and control over another human being that an adult will never give them. Only a child will. And someone with Down syndrome. And it's a hatred of God.